So last class we had just done the introduction with two-way slab, and by now you know if a slab is supported on all the four sides, the ratio of longer span to shorter span based upon the value. If it is less than 2, then you can design the slab as what? A two-way slab. Now, what we did, we had seen how to compute the moment on about x-axis and about y-axis. That is, bending is going to take place about both span. So, if you want to compute the moment, so about shorter span, if you want to compute, that is mx, so you can compute. And if you want to compute about longer span, so you can use this equation my. Okay. And if you observe these both equation, only difference which will come here is this coefficient, bending coefficient, alpha x and alpha y. Your my is also expressed in terms of what? Lx square. And these bending coefficients will depend upon the edge condition. Now, depending upon the edge condition, we had also seen how you can get the values of these coefficient alpha x and alpha y. The coefficient of alpha x basically depends upon the ratio of Ly and Lx. Now, what we'll do, I'll try to derive one expression. Okay, say for this case, because it is quite simple to derive this case because it's a simply supported case. So you do not have indeterminacy. So definitely I can get that kind of expression for alpha x and alpha y. So let us do that. So what I have done, I have considered a simply supported slab. Okay, this is a simply supported slab, and say this is my shorter span Lx, and this is my longer span Ly. So about shorter span, of course, bending is going to take place. So it is just like whatever load which is acting over here, so at this particular common area. So if I say W is the load which is acting on the slab, load acting on slab. Now, since bending is to take place about both the direction, what happens about shorter span? You'll be having the load intensity of Wx, and about longer span, I'll say the load intensity will be Wy, such that this Wx plus Wy is equal to total load W. Okay. So about shorter span, a part of load is transferring its load, and about longer span, a part of this load W is getting transferred. The sum of these two load has to be equal to what? W. Now this is the common point. Now at common point, you will be having same deflection. So if I equate this expression 5 Wx Lx to the power of 4 by 384 EI, so we had seen this expression when we had started discussing about slab 5 Wy Ly to the power of 4 by 384 EI. So basically it is the deflection on 1 meter strip which has been taken from the slab. Now this is a simply supported uh, slab, so definitely that 1 meter strip which you are taking, you can consider that as a beam, and this beam is simply supported. Now at this center point, if I want to compute deflection, so about shorter span, this will be 5 Wx Lx to the power of 4 by 384 EI, and about longer span, it will be 5 Wy Ly to the power of 4 by 384 EI. From this expression, what I can see, I'll be getting this value. Wx equal to Wy into Ly by Lx to the power of 4. Say this Ly by Lx ratio, I denote this by R for simplicity. So this R is the ratio of Ly by Lx. Now this Wx, if I substitute over here, or let me do in this particular fashion, let me do here itself. If I substitute the value of Wx over here, what I get? I get Wy 1 plus R to the power of 4 equal to W. So this value actually I am substituting in this equation. Now from here, I can get what is W. So Wy is actually how much? W divided by 1 plus R to the power of 4. Okay, so this is your Wy. Now one more thing, I can get Wx also. Okay, if you substitute the value of Wy here, definitely you are going to get the value for Wx too. So if I compute Wx, it will be in this form. Wx equal to R to the power of 4 divided by 1 plus R to the power of 4. It will be W into R to the power of 4. Okay, so if I substitute this, you'll be getting this one, W. Okay, so this is what you're going to get Wx. Now, if I want to know, as I said, for this particular span, this 1 meter strip which is spanning about Lx, if I want to know what is the maximum moment, so maximum moment acts at the center, so mx will be what? Wx into L square divided by 8. Okay, so this will be the moment, maximum moment for slab, which is spanning about shorter span, and if you have considering 1 meter strip. Okay, so for this slab, which has been considered as simply supported, is spanning about shorter span, you can see here this load is actually Wx, the span is Lx. If I want to know what is the maximum moment, you'll answer me Wx into Lx square divided by 8, WL square by 8. So this is what I have written here. Okay, this is what I have written here. Now, further I will be substituting my equation. So my equation becomes mx equal to, if I substitute the value of Wx, so you see here Wx I'm having. So if I substitute this, I get this equation, W into R to the power of 4 divided by 1 plus R to the power of 4. This is Wx into Lx square divided by 8. Okay, so this is the expression which you will get. Similarly, if I want to write for My, so My instead of x, it will be Wy, and here it will be Ly. So if I substitute the value of Wy is W divided by 1 plus R to the power of 4. If I do that, I get this expression, W into 1 plus, sorry, 1 divided by 1 plus R to the power of 4 into Ly square by 4. So this is the equation which you are getting for Mx and My. Now here you see this Mx, I can write in this particular fashion. Mx equal to alpha x into W into Lx square. So what is alpha x? So alpha x is actually, we are saying alpha x will be 1 by 8 into R to the power of 4 divided by 1 plus R to the power of 4. So this is the value of alpha x for simply supported slab without restraining the corner. Okay, without restraining the corner. Because if I restrain the corner, this equation will not be applicable. So however, I'm giving you an idea like how those coefficient has come. So here you see you're getting alpha x equal to 1 by 8 R to the power of 4 divided by 1 plus R to the power of 4. Now, if I talk about My, so a little bit manipulation you can do here. As I said, you want to represent this My also in terms of Lx. So what you can do, please see, I will be writing this expression. Let me write this expression first. Writing My equal to alpha y into W into Lx square. Okay, so this is the expression which I'm writing. So what will be your alpha y? Okay, what will be your alpha y? So your alpha y will be actually, again, you please observe this thing, what I'm doing. I'm multiplying here by Lx square and I'm dividing by Lx square. Okay, I'm doing this. And you see Ly by Lx. Okay, Ly by Lx is what? my ratio which I'm considering R. Okay, so this my is reduced to this my equation is reduced to W into 1 by 1 plus R to the power of 4. So Ly by Lx is your ratio. So I'm writing R square divided by 8 into Lx square. Okay, so this is the expression which I'm getting. So what will be your alpha y? So alpha y I can write 1 by 8 into 1 by 8 into R square by 1 plus R to the power of R square divided by 1 plus R to the power of 4. Okay, so this is your alpha y. For which case, for simply supported slab without restraining it. Now, what you do, you take any value. So here it's given. Then you can say it is given 1. So if your Ly by Lx is 1, what will be your alpha x? So your R is 1. Okay, if R equal to 1, that is Ly by Lx is actually 1. You substitute the value here. So how much you get? How much will we get? Let us check. 1 divided by 2 divided by 8. This is coming 0.0625. So here you see alpha x is 0.062. So getting this value. Similarly, alpha y, you substitute here. You get same thing, 0.062 if R is 1. And you can test if R equal to how much you want to take. Say if I want to take 1.4, that is Ly by Lx is 1.4. It is coming 0.099. So even I'm getting same value. So you'll get alpha x equal to 0.09918. So code has taken 0.099. So you should not worry that why this is given in terms of Lx. So please understand mx and my is represented in terms of Lx itself. So you have to be careful when you substitute the span for computing respective bending moment. Okay. If you have any doubt related with this, I have considered only for simply supported case. Other cases I have not considered because it will require a rigorous mathematical calculation from plate theory. You will be having a partial differential equation. Now you need to solve those differential equation considering boundary condition, and definitely you will be getting the value of alpha x and alpha y based on that. What I did, I considered a very simple case with the help of which you can see what code has actually done. Okay, like for simply supported slab case without restraining corners, we have seen how to compute alpha x and alpha y. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Otherwise, I'll proceed.
Sir, why alpha x and alpha y depends upon edge condition?
You have seen, like in strength of material. Okay, in strength of material, if you see bending equation, like you might have studied about those double integration method for computing deflection, right? Have you studied in this thing, double integration method in order to compute the deflection? वहां पर क्या होता था, जब तुम्हें डिफ्लेक्शन करना होता था तुम बाउंड्री कंडीशन लगाते थे. सपोज आई हैव दिस बीम, fixed beam. If I ask you compute the deflection at center, so you had two boundary condition. What boundary condition? The rotation at support is 0, at x equal to 0, theta is 0. Now suppose the same problem. यहाँ पर जब बाउंड्री कंडीशन ऐसे हो जाएगा तो से सिंपली सपोर्टेड केस, तो यहाँ पर तुम ये बाउंड्री कंडीशन नहीं लगा पाओगे बिकॉज यू डू नॉट नो दिस. So you'll say at x equal to a, theta is what? 0. So like that, if you give the boundary condition, based upon the boundary condition, you're going to get different deflection for both B. क्योंकि support different है, different boundary condition, तो deflection भी तो same नहीं रहता था ना. So same thing here also, in slab also. To consider in slab also. Like if you have different boundary condition, you're definitely going to get a different coefficient. Is this clear? क्योंकि यहाँ पर भी देखो सेम बीम मैंने बनाया है, बट एक बीम में मैंने क्या किया, एक को फिक्स कर दिया, एक को क्या किया, सिंपली सपोर्ट कर दिया, और अदर एंड दोनों में फिक्स है. बट अगर मैं बोलूं डिफ्लेक्शन दोनों में कंप्यूट करो तो देखो कि दोनों का सेंट्रल डिफ्लेक्शन क्या होगा, डिफरेंट होगा. क्यों हो रहा है? जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ डिफरेंट बाउंड्री कंडीशन. और कैसे निकाल रहे थे? अल्टीमेटली यू हैव सम डिफरेंशियल इक्वेशन, उस डिफरेंशियल इक्वेशन को तुम डबल इंटीग्रेट करके डिफ्लेक्शन निकालने की कोशिश कर रहे हो. तो सेम थिंग यू आर गोइंग टू गेट फ्रॉम योर प्लेट थ्योरी. यू आर गोइंग टू हैव डिफरेंशियल इक्वेशन फॉर स्लैब. Since you have not been introduced to those plate theory, I cannot have those kind of discussion. So we have to understand for different boundary condition, you will have a different bending moment coefficient. I hope this is clear, Aman.
Yes, sir.
So what we'll do, if there is no more doubt, we'll continue further. So, okay, so last class what we did, we had discussed till here. If you remember, we had discussed till D1.6, and if you read D1.7, if you remember this sketch, we discussed about these two sketches. The entire slab is being divided into middle strip and edge strip, and whatever reinforcement you compute to the complete total reinforcement is provided in the middle strip, and in edge strip, I said you provide minimum reinforcement. And so if you read clause number D1.8, now it is understood where slab will try to lift when the slab is having simply supported adjacent edges. Okay, if you have adjacent edges simply support, then the slab will try to lift. You do not want that to lift. If you do not want the slab to lift at corner, it means you have to hold it down. So by holding it down, what you will do, you are going to provide torsion reinforcement for that. Now what code has suggested, it has again simplified the approach. Rather than again going with some rigorous calculation, some mathematical calculation, it has prescribed a provision for torsion reinforcement. And what it has been said, if you read this, torsion reinforcement shall be provided at any corner where the slab is simply supported on both edges meeting at that corner. So that's what I am saying. Even you are getting that intuition. If the corners where the slab is meeting, if both are simply supported, then that corner is going to lift. Now, suppose if you do not want to that lifting of the slab, you are going to provide torsion reinforcement, and it's written, it shall be provided. Now, further, if you read how you are going to provide it, it's written, it shall consist of top and bottom reinforcement. Okay, so it will be in the form of a mesh, I can say. It's very simple. So it's like written, it shall consist of top and bottom reinforcement, each with layers of bars placed parallel to the sides of the slab and extending from the edges a minimum distance of 1/5 of the shorter span. So please see whatever has been written here, and I'll be showing the sketch which is given in SP34 to interpret what has been mentioned in clause number D1.8 of IS 456-2000. Let me open SP34. Let me take this screenshot for better understanding. What you can see here in the corner, let me highlight it. So from here you can see here is one of the corner, and here also one of the corner. Now this both corners is what simply support. Now as per suggestion, if you have simply supported corners or the adjacent edges are discontinuous with allowing the corners to lift or with allowing the slab to lift at the corner, then what you have to do, you do not want to make slab to lift at corner, so you provide torsion reinforcement. How you are actually providing? Question is, what will be the span? How much should be this length? You can see you have some kind of mesh. Okay, so let us see the code. What is written? Each with layers of bars placed side to side, extending edges a minimum distance of 1/5 of the shorter span. So it is clear that this distance has to be how much? It has to be Lx by 5, and this distance has to be how much? Lx by 5. So this bar has to be length of Lx by 5 in this direction. In this direction also, this bar has to be given a length of Lx by 5. Okay, so torsion reinforcement is provided actually at the corner in the form of a mesh, and the mesh is having a length, minimum length has to be Lx by 5, Lx by 5. Okay, so you can say it's a square mesh which has to be provided at the top as well as at the bottom. Now, what will be that steel quantity? What will be that steel quantity? Again, I'll come back to the code. What is written? The area of reinforcement in each of these 4 layers, okay, shall be 3/4 of the area required for the maximum mid-span movement in this slab. So whatever maximum moment you get for the slab, for that moment you might have already computed the steel. So you take 3/4 of that steel. So 3/4 of that steel has to be provided as your torsion reinforcement in each of these 4 layers. So that's why if you see in the sketch, it's been mentioned. Here you see if I talk about the reinforcement in this direction, okay, in this direction, green line. So in this direction, if I take, so in this direction, the steel should be how much? 3/4 AST. And what is this AST? This is AST is coming from maximum moment. Or I can write maximum of mx comma my. So whatever is the maximum moment, considering that moment, you will be computing the steel, 3/4 of that steel you are going to provide in one of the direction, and in the another direction also you are going to provide 3/4 of the AST. And this steel has to be provided in top and bottom. And always remember, you will, if you will observe, you will always get mx more compared to my, because bending is always dominant about shorter span. So if you start observing those calculations, irrespective of seeing these maximum movement, you know when you are going to have maximum movement. And even by seeing the coefficient, you will be able to identify whichever coefficient is higher, that will definitely give you what maximum movement. Because if you see the expression of mx and my, alpha x into w into lx square, this is what alpha y into w into ly square. So based on these coefficient, you will be able to identify that this particular coefficient is going to give you the maximum movement. So these things will become very clear when we start solving the problem. So this is the case which I have considered when you have simply supported corner. But it is possible that you may have this kind of case also. Let me show you the other case. Here you see this case. Here what you can observe. So I am marking this in hatch. So this is a discontinuous edge, but it is a simply supported edge. Okay, this is what discontinuous edge, but simply supported edge. Okay, you can say that here you have a brickwork, and over that you are placing the slab. What you can see, like suppose if I want to design the slab panel. Okay, if I want to design this slab panel, here also you have one more panel, but I'm saying that I'll be designing this slab panel. Now see the end condition here. One is discontinuous edge, and another edge is what? Continuous. Okay. So what you can observe, this edge is discontinuous, and this is what? Continuous. And one of the edge is what? Simply supported. So here also you have to provide torsion reinforcement. And how you are going to provide torsion reinforcement? It will not be 3/4 of AST. Okay, here you can see the quantity is how much? 3/8 of AST, half of the steel which you provide when the two edges are discontinuous but simply supported. Okay, and this you can read here also. D1.9, it's written torsion reinforcement equal to half that described in D1.8 shall be provided at a corner contained by edges over only one of which the slab is continuous. So it is actually talking about this case. It is actually talking about this case. One edge is discontinuous but simply supported, and the other edge is what? Continuous. So in that case, again you have to provide torsion reinforcement, but not 3/4 of AST. It has to be how much? 3/4 or 3/8 of AST. Why 3/8? Half of 3/4. So half of 3/4 is 3/8. So the torsion reinforcement will be provided in top and bottom in the form of mesh. Okay, and we have seen this. Okay, and we have seen in this kind of sketch. So I hope it is clear to you how you have to provide the torsion reinforcement. If there is any doubt, you can ask.
सर जो स्टील है 3/4 और 3/8
हाँ,
वो सर पूरा मेस का है,
पूरा मेश का नहीं है। ये जैसे कि अभी मैं देखो इस डायग्राम को तुम देखो, इस स्केच को तुम देखो, इस स्केच से तुमको सब पता चल जाएगा। यहाँ पर तुम देखोगे, देखो जैसे कि मैं इस डायरेक्शन में स्टील की बात करूंगा, देखो जैसे कि अभी मैं ब्लू लाइन पे कॉन्सेंट्रेट कर रहा हूँ, इस लाइन पे बात करना चाहता हूँ, ठीक है कि नहीं? तो देखो इस लाइन में क्या बोला है, ये पूरी स्टील का क्वांटिटी कितना होना चाहिए? 3/4 ऑफ AST। ओके, अब सेम स्टील तो इधर भी जाएगा, अदर डायरेक्शन में भी जाएगा, क्योंकि दोनों में तो सेम ही आ रहा है। देखो जैसे इस डायरेक्शन में मैं बोलूं, जैसे से फॉर एग्जांपल ये जो बार्स जा रहे हैं, ये बार और ये बार, मैं बोलूं कि ठीक है ये बार है तुम्हारा 8 डाया at 200 mm center to center based upon this quantity I have computed it. अदर डायरेक्शन में भी सेम ही होगा, 8 डाया 200 mm center to center, और तुम्हारा मैश बन जाएगा। अब उस मैश को तुम बॉटम में भी दोगे और टॉप में भी दोगे। हाँ,
mx mx और my अलग अलग है तो उसके अनुसार
हाँ
अलग
हाँ
अलग डायरेक्शन में अलग अलग स्टील जाएगा ना सर?
नहीं नहीं अलग अलग स्टील नहीं जाएगा। अगर उसमें तुम पढ़ो प्रोविजन में क्या लिखा है, मैक्सिमम स्पैन मूवमेंट, अगर इसको तुम पढ़ो क्या बोला है देखो, द एरिया ऑफ reinforcement in each of these four layer, 3/4 of the area required for the maximum mid span movement। तो मिड स्पैन मूवमेंट में क्या चीज को अगर तुम मैं लिखना चाहो, ये ये जो टॉर्जन स्टील दे दोगे इसका क्वांटिटी क्या होगा, इसका क्वांटिटी एक्चुअली इस तरह से लिखोगे इक्वल टू मैक्सिमम ऑफ, ठीक है कि नहीं, यहाँ पर तुम देखो AST x प्लस, ओके, कॉमा AST y प्लस डिवाइड, इसको किससे किससे मल्टीप्लाई करोगे 3/4, तो यही टॉर्जन स्टील है तुम्हारा, ठीक है कि नहीं। तो AST x प्लस तो हमेशा ज्यादा ही होने वाला है क्योंकि बेंडिंग हमेशा ज्यादा किसमें होता है, शॉर्टर स्पैन में। तो डायरेक्टली व्हाट यू कैन डू, यू कैन मल्टीप्लाई 3/4 into AST x plus, so you'll get that steel। So about both direction same steel will be provided। Is this clear? So when we take up the problem again, you will be seeing when we apply it, it will give you more clear idea regarding this codal provision and you'll be able to interpret it. Now D2 is talking about simply supported slab. So when you have simply supported slab and you do not have adequate provision to resist torsion, that is it means that corners are allowed to lift. Okay, so if corners are allowed to lift, you're not going to use this table number 26. Okay, what you will be doing, you will be referring table number 27. Again same expression, but only thing is when you have all the four edges discontinuous but corners are allowed to lift. So please understand, corners are allowed to lift. If corners are allowed to lift, then you have to refer table number 27. You will be not referring table number 26. So this is what the code has suggested. And further it is saying like same like 50% of the tension reinforcement has to be provided at the discontinuous end. So this is all about the two-way slab, and what we'll do, we'll try to solve a problem and we'll see these all provision being applied when you design the two-way slab. For starting the design, it's better to give some guideline based on which you'll be designing it. Just similar to the design procedure which I mentioned in for the one-way slab. So same kind of design procedure what I'll be doing, I'll be just writing it down. So the first step, like in the first step, you have to select the trial depth. So first step will be selection of trial. So how you select this trial depth? So from serviceability criteria, and we had seen like how exactly you select it. So I'll be giving you a guideline. It is not a very hard and fast rule, but I will give you a guideline like how exactly you should select this. Now, from the serviceability criteria, I'll be referring to the code again. Let me show you that provision under notes. Okay, because serviceability criteria depends upon your deflection. For slabs spanning in two directions, the shorter of the two span should be used for calculating the span to effective depth ratio. It means I'll always be considering the shorter span to get the trial effective depth, because ultimately when I do the deflection check, I have to consider the shorter span. So you have to remember whenever you select the trial depth, you for a two-way slab especially, you have to consider the shorter span. Now if you read point number 2, what it is saying, for two-way slab of shorter span up to 3.5 meter, and here it is written with mild steel reinforcement. Okay, the span to overall depth ratio given below may generally be assumed to satisfy vertical deflection limit for loading class up to 3 kN per meter square. So this particular clause or this particular note is applicable only for mild steel bar when you're using mild steel reinforcement, and say if you have a shorter span. Okay, if you have a shorter span less than 3.5 meter, and also the load is how much? It is up to 3 kN per meter square. So if span is less than 3.5 meter and if load is up to 3 kilonewton per meter square, then how you can select your effective depth? Your Lx by D is equal to 35 for simply supported slab, and for continuous slab it is how much? 40. But this 35 and 40 is applicable for which steel? Mild steel. And if you read this for high strength deformed bar, what you have to do? You have to reduce this 35 and 40. You have to actually divide it by factor how much? You have to divide it by a factor of or no, you have to multiply it with the factor of 0.8. Okay, you have to multiply this with a factor of 0.8. So I'll be taking the case. So what case I'm considering? The case which I'm considering, span is less than equal to 3.5 meter, and next condition. So both condition has to be satisfied, and load is whatever imposed load you have. This load, whatever is there, this is imposed load. So let me write down live load, LL. LL is live load, okay? So this load is, again, it is less than equal to 3 kilonewton per meter square. So in this case, if this is the case for which you are designing the two-way slab, when you find span is less than equal to 3.5 meter, and also you find load is less than equal to 3 kilonewton per meter square, then if you have Fe250 steel for simply supported slab, what you will be doing, you will be selecting Lx by D equal to how much? You will be taking it as 35. So this is what it is saying, 35. And if you have a continuous slab, okay, so continuous slab, it means for fixed or continuous. So fixed or continuous slab, again, how much Lx by D you will be considering? Span to effective depth ratio will be 40. This is for Fe250 steel. But what about HYSD bar? Okay, so this is for Fe250 steel. But for HYSD bars, that is Fe415 steel or Fe500 steel. So for simply supported slab, what you have to do? You have to multiply this 35 with 0.8. So if you do that, you'll get Lx by D equal to 35 into 0.8. How much it will be? This is 28. Okay, for simply supported slab. And for fixed or continuous slab, So I'm written in short, CONT, there's continuous slab. What will be Lx by D? It will be 40 into 0.8. So 40 into 0.8 is 32. So this is applicable for HYSD bar. So when you are going to select this kind of ratio, when you have this particular case. Of our other case, suppose if this condition is not satisfying, okay, if this condition is not satisfying, then the trial depth selection is same as that of one-way slab. Okay, if this condition is not satisfying, so for other cases, what you have to do when you select the trial depth, selection is same as that of one-way slab. When we had C, you tried with what modification? You assume the modification factor of 1.25 and you start your trial depth selection. Okay. Now next step is what? Once you select this trial depth, the next step is to compute the effective span. Okay, compute effective span Lx and Ly. And we know how you compute this effective span and how you exactly compute your effective span. So to compute effective span, so the provisions, clause number 22.2. So as per this clause, you compute this effective span Lx and Ly. Once you compute this effective span, what will be your third step? You have to compute the design moment. So actually you have to compute design moment. So how you compute design moment? So you know how to compute this Mx, you know how to compute My using those coefficient alpha x, alpha y, w into Lx square, w into Lx square. So you will be trying to find out these coefficients. Okay, you will be trying to find out this moment coefficient alpha x and alpha y, and you will be computing this moment. Okay, Now, apart from this movement, what you do, you also compute the design shear force. So compute design shear. And how you can compute this design shear? So basically, you'll be having the maximum shear about the shorter span. So maximum shear, the ultimate shear, which is going to come, and you can also try. It will be actually this VU equal to the ultimate load, which is will be there in this, into r to the power of 4 divided by 1 plus r to the power of 4. So I'm not deriving this expression, and you can remember this. And what is R? R is the ratio of shorter span by longer span. So once you compute R, you will be able to compute this shear force also. Okay. And this W is the capital, I have written the capital WU. It is not small. W is the total load. Okay, this WU is the total load on slab. All right. So after this step, the next step which will be following, you will be calculating the reinforcement in both the directions. So based on the moment which you have computed, you'll be computing the reinforcement. So I'll write design reinforcement in both directions. Okay, so you have to design reinforcement in both directions based upon the moment you compute mx and my. The fifth step, check for deflection control. Or you check for shear. So let me write check for shear. Fifth step. You will be performing the shear check. Next step, what you can do, check for deflection control. And final step is to provide reinforcement detail drawing. Provide reinforcement detail drawing as per IS 456 2000 recommendation. So basically, using IS 456 2000 recommendation, we're going to provide the reinforcement detail drawing. Or what you can do, you can refer SP 34 also. And finally, what you do, one more step, you check whether corners is allowed to lift or it is not allowed to lift. If corners are not allowed to lift, and when it is not allowed to lift, like so let us say if you have a discontinuous edge, let's see, you have to provide torsion reinforcement. Okay, so depending upon the adjacent edge condition, so you look into the adjacent edge condition, and depending upon the adjacent edge condition, provide torsion reinforcement. Okay, depending upon the edge condition, provide torsion reinforcement when adjacent edges are discontinuous. If you find the adjacent edges discontinuous, you have to provide complete torsion reinforcement. And if adjacent edges are, like if adjacent edges, if I'm saying one edge continuous and other edge discontinuous, then how you are going to provide torsion reinforcement? Half into torsion reinforcement. So torsion reinforcement is actually 3/4 into AST. So this much amount of steel you have to provide. Half into 3/4, that is 3/8 of AST steel will be provided, and I'm writing in short, torsion reinforcement. And here what you'll be doing, you'll be providing torsion reinforcement. How much quantity? We're going to provide 3/4 of AST as torsion. So totally depend upon the edge condition. Like if adjacent edges is discontinuous, 3/4 of AST is going to be provided as torsion reinforcement. And if adjacent edges are like one edge continuous, other edge discontinuous, 3/8 of AST, that is half of 3/4 AST, will be provided as torsion reinforcement. So if you follow these 8 steps, we'll be able to design the 2A slab. Okay. So what we'll be doing, since we have very less time, we have only 9 minutes remaining. What we'll do, we'll take up the design problem in the next class. So till now, whatever we have discussed, if you have any problem or if you have any doubt, you can ask now.